If we Americans don't come together again, humanity won't survive.
Sam, we want you to go west and finish what Emily started. This was Bridget's dying wish. This is how we'll move forward.
Please, Sam. We need you.
No rest for the wicked, huh?
Hello everybody, Lamine here. Here is the first episode of the references behind Hideo Kojima's games. Today's video will be dedicated to the works that influenced the legendary game designer in the creation of the first opus of Death Stranding. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start this video with the inspirations that gave Hideo Kojima the idea for the Death Stranding storyline.
Just a good old-fashioned boss fight. Stick versus rope. Done versus Strand.
The concept of the stick and the rope, which served as the main idea for the Death Stranding scenario, is taken from the novel called The Rope, written by Kobo Abe and published in 1972. This story describes how early humans created two tools, the stick to protect against evil and the rope to bring goodness. This is where the concept of bonding and connecting people came from.
人類になった瞬間って、直立歩行して、それで脳が発達して両手が使えるようになって道具を発明します。で、最初に発明したのが棒であると言われてますね。で、棒っていうのは、嫌いなものを遠ざけるために作られた。でこれ今の銃とかそうですよね。で次に発明したのが縄なんですよ。縄は好きなものをくくりつけて自分の近くに置いておく。でこの棒と縄が2つあって今の文明社会が。
A quote from Kobo Abe's work can be found in Death Stranding as soon as you start a new game. The stick and rope concept is also used in Stanley Kubrick's 1968 film 2001, A Space Odyssey, in which, at the dawn of humanity, a monolith teaches Australopithecines to use bones as sticks to hunt and defend themselves.
Once there was an explosion, a bang which gave rise to life as we know it. And then came the next explosion. An explosion that will be our last.
The idea of an upcoming explosion that will cause the end of humanity, as Sam explains at the start of the game, is a parallel to the 1997 anime Neon Genesis Evangelion, in which the Earth, having suffered two impacts that almost wiped out the human race, must face a third impact from which humans will not recover.
I am the extinction entity.
The threat of human annihilation posed by the extinction entity Amelie mirrors the 1988 animated film Akira, in which Akira represents, through Tetsuo, a threat capable of destroying everything in his path. This is what he does at the very end of the film, in an explosion that allows him to create a new universe.
A beach can be anything, and those anythings form a multiverse.
Nothing official here, but the notion of the beach as a kind of inner world where the soul of each individual goes to when they die seems to me to have been inspired by Christopher Nolan's 2010 film Inception. In fact, Amelie, just like Mal in the film, spends most of her time on her beach, which is a version of limbo in which Mal finds herself.
We're whole again. We're one. Like before in the womb, remember? Lingen. Hakna.
Speaking of the afterlife, the Ka and Ha often mentioned in Death Stranding are inspired by an ancient Egyptian belief that when we die, our soul or Ka leaves our body and therefore our Ha and heads for the world of the dead, and as long as our deceased body is preserved, our soul may continue to live on in the afterlife. So, in order to guide the Ka of the dead towards their Ha, the ancient Egyptians mummified their pharaohs in golden coffins and built impressive tombs like the pyramids.
Sam, he's our man.
As far as I know, Hideo Kojima has never said anything on the matter, but it's highly likely that Porter's job of making deliveries throughout the country was inspired by a real job in Japan called Boka. Boka are responsible for delivering goods to remote areas where vehicles can't reach, and like Sam, they walk for long hours carrying heavy loads on their back. After the scenario, let's continue with the references that inspired the game's design.
Start good shit. Maybe you are defective.
The Death Stranding game cover is inspired by a shot from the 1986 film Aliens. We can also see that the Odra deck is inspired by the kind of shoulder lamp worn by some Aliens characters. Its function is also similar to that of the motion tracker, a device used in the film to detect aliens. Finally, its name, design, and almost human-like behavior are a tribute to Franz Kafka's 1920 short story called The Cares of a Family Man, in which the narrator tells the story of a living object he names Odra Deck. The UCA landscape is inspired by Iceland, a place that Kojima visited in 2014 when he was developing The Phantom Pain and just before releasing PT, the demo in which the first sketches of Death Stranding's landscape can be seen in some of the frames. This is just my opinion, but it's likely that the idea of the time falls aging effect comes from Hayao Miyazaki's Princess Mononoke, released in 1997, in which the forest spirit's footsteps age everything they touch. It's also possible that the giant BT owes its origins to the headless form of the forest spirit. After the scenario and design, let's move on to the references behind the game's main characters.
My name is Sam Porter Bridges. It's my job to reconnect us.
The fact that Sam twitches as he enters BT areas is linked to his Dooms level, but is also a nod to PT, the demo in which Lisa moves in the same way as she follows the protagonist. One of Sam's nightmares also pays tribute to PT in a similar way.
I'm fragile, but not that fragile.
Fragile, her umbrella and her bag refer to Mary Poppins, the famous nanny capable of wonders.
The name's Higgs, the particle of God that permeates all existence.
Higgs was created as a tribute to the Higgs boson, the famous particle of God that gives mass to everything. His real name, Peter Englert, refers to Francois Englert and Peter Higgs, two of the 6 scientists behind the Higgs mechanism. His design is inspired by ancient Egypt.
One last game over.
I keep busy. I have a collection of music, television shows, some very interesting short films, and stories. Everything consumable within a 21-minute window.
Hartman's passion for cinema is Kojima's nod to the 1999 film Bleeder, written and directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, in which Mads Mikkelsen plays a man called Lenny, who is a movie fan.
Fuck all!
By the way, the gloves Hartman wears are pretty much the same as those worn by Ryan Gosling in the 2011 film Drive, which Nicholas Winding Refn also directed. Hartman's unique characteristic is that he dies every 21 minutes. This idea is based on the 21-gram theory by Duncan McDougall, who theorized that the human body had a soul with a mass of 21 grams.
Don't leave without me! No! Don't go! Please, don't go!
You know why they call me Die Hartman? Because he wouldn't let me die. He brought my sorry ass back home every time.
Die Hardman, whose real name is John Blake McLean, is a direct reference to the 1988 film Die Hard, starring Bruce Willis, who is called John McClane in the film.
Mayday, mayday, anyone copying Channel 9?
Attention, whoever you are, this channel is reserved for emergency calls only.
No fucking shit, lady! Do I sound like I'm ordering a pizza?
Kid looks happy.
Last but not least, the bridge babies are inspired by the babies in the jars seen in the 2001 movie The Devil's Backbone, directed by Guillermo del Toro, who provides his likeness to Deadman in the game. For the last part of this video, let's take a look at what influenced the production of some of the game's cutscenes. The style of Death Stranding's motorcycles, as well as the game's opening scene in which Sam crashes because of Fragile, is a reference to the animated film Akira, in which Tetsuo crashes into Takashi.
What happened to the CD, guys?
Central Knot was obliterated in the Annihilation. Game over, man. Place is a crater.
The game over appearing behind Deadman is a nod to Metal Gear Solid.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
The shot of Cliff emerging from the tar lake in the Vietnam War beach is a reference to the famous scene from 1979's Apocalypse Now, in which Captain Willard rises from water in the same way.
And back.
The fight between Sam and Higgs is an homage to the final duel between Solid Snake and Liquid Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 4, with similar camera angles and slow-motion shots of Sam and Higgs throwing punches at each other, reminiscent of Snake and Liquid Ocelot. Finally, at the end of Death Stranding, when Sam finds himself on Amelie's beach, the bloody water is reminiscent of the animated film The End of Evangelion, where Shinji also finds himself on a blood-red beach. In both works, the events that bring the protagonists to these particular locations are quite similar. That's it for the main references that inspired Hideo Kojima to create Death Stranding. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, a like and a comment would be much appreciated. You can also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos.